As Dashers, we get asked to do a lot of things, but we should never be expected to pay out of our pocket for anything. According to DoorDash, there is only one solution when your red card doesn't work and gets declined. And I have a problem with that, and so should you. Their solution is for you to pay out of pocket with your own money. Should Dashers be expected to pay their hard earned money because something doesn't work right with DoorDash? Heck no. How is this even allowed? And then they have even made it harder lately to get reimbursed. Did anybody realize that? Do you trust that DoorDash will give you back your money? I know I don't. Now, I've been doing DoorDash for a while now, over 6 years to be exact, and over 16,000 deliveries. It only takes getting burnt once in this process to never do it again. And yes, there was a time that I never got reimbursed and never saw my money again. This is why I want everybody to be cautious. This is also why Dashers should never be expected to do this. So today, we will go over the process on what happens when your red card gets declined, what happens if you do give DoorDash your money, and should DoorDash change the way that they do the red card. So what happens if your red card gets declined? Well, two things. DoorDash hopefully will load more money onto the card, and they'll load it onto your physical card, not the digital card, so you might have to go back and get your card so you can proceed with the order. If they can't figure out what the problem is, and this happens very often, is they'll ask you to pay out of your own pocket, out of your own credit card for this customer's order, and then they will reimburse you. I'm going to let that one sink in. Before I do, though, before we carry on, let me know, have you ever been asked from support to pay for an order because their red card got declined or wasn't working? And then what DoorDash will expect out of you is to take the receipt, take a picture of the receipt, and then they'll ask you to submit it for reimbursement. Now, the process has changed in the past couple of months. Before, you would call support, they would send you an email, you send a picture of a receipt, and they would physically do it for you right on the phone. Or you would chat with the support, you could upload a picture of the receipt right there, and they would immediately reimburse you. Now the process has completely changed. Now you have to fill out a form through the website, through the app, and then someone will review it, and then within 24 hours, you'll get reimbursed. Do you trust this? Do you trust that? I don't. So get this, a fellow Dasher had an order, and this isn't about item counts, it isn't about how much the order was worth, but I can tell you it was over $30. It was pretty big item counts because the total of this customer's grocery bill was over $300. So she goes to check out and gets to the very end where she swipes her red card, gets declined. So she calls support. Okay? Support can't figure out what's going on. They try reloading the card, that's not working. So their only option was for this Dasher, get ready for it, to pay out of her pocket by using her own debit card or her own credit card for this customer's order. Okay, let me know, would you actually go ahead and trust DoorDash to reimburse you for over $300 for a customer's order? I wouldn't. So she's going back and forth with support. She's beyond mad because support gave her two options. She could either pay for this customer's order out of her own pocket, and she's like, to support, I only have $10 to my bank account. How am I going to pay for someone's $300? Anyway, or her other course of action was to have support cancel the order. Yeah. Those are her only two options. So she just spent an hour of her time shopping for this customer, and she's expecting $1 amount. And now, because she spent all this time, it ends up being half. Isn't that messed up? That's messed up, right? What happens if you give DoorDash your money? Well, there's a chance that you'll get reimbursed. Honestly, there's a good chance. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, there was only once out of my 6 years that I had a hard time with this, and it was a whole mix up with DoorDash's systems. But when you talk $40, $50, $300, man, I would not trust this process one bit. The process to me has gotten harder over the years, not easier. Maybe it's because Dashers have been scamming the system. I don't know what the deal is. All as I know from a Dasher's perspective, I personally don't ever think that should ever be asked of a Dasher to pay for someone else's order that isn't your own, and then you will get reimbursed. I'll say you will get reimbursed, even though you might get reimbursed. Should DoorDash change the way that they do the red card? Before I answer that question, if you got value out of this video and you are enjoying it, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. Should DoorDash change the way that they do the red card? Yes. This should never be, like, the Dasher should never be an equation to solve a DoorDash corporate problem. It should never be put on the shoulders of the driver to solve a problem that's a DoorDash issue, not a driver issue. And then have a choice to either pay out of pocket to get your full amount so you can get it delivered, or have it canceled, and then you just wasted a Dasher's time, and now you wasted your money. As a Dasher, you're expected to get a certain dollar amount, and now you don't because something didn't work on DoorDash's end. Anybody see how messed up this really is? Okay, you're going to have to let me know. What do you think about all this? Do you think DoorDash needs to change its solution to the red card not working? Do you think that this poor driver should have been even asked to pay out of pocket over $300? Oh man, it is so messed up, and it's so wrong on so many levels. But anyway, speaking of ridiculous orders, this order got canceled over 20 times. Want to find out all the details? Well, you're going to want to check this one out next, and I'll see you over there.